YouTube, what's poppin'? It's your boy SleezyCheeto coming at you guys with another Exos Heroes video today. And today we're going to be talking about the FATED units synergy marks. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. So I found some new information on Reddit. The Exos Hero subreddit is really good. Really go check that out. I'm leaving a link in the description. I am not taking credit for what I found or if I made this. No. This information is made by the original creator. Go give him the support, give him the upvotes he needs, or she needs, because this is such a great visual aid. I'll also leave the visual aid in the description as well. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So the first mark here we're going to talk about is the command mark. So what the command mark does is, first off, Garf is the one who puts the command mark on people. So when Garf is on play, his passive is to grant allies with lower maximum health than self with the command mark and increases defense and health by 20%, which is really good. So your lowest HP unit, which is usually your attackers, will be covered with the command mark. Now let's follow it up with Rudley here. What Rudley does in his passive, how it's passive, but with his lightning attack and with his decisive strike moves, he grants a barrier of 51% on the lightning strike and then 73% on his decisive strike. Lightning attack, excuse me. Basically giving a barrier for 51% or 73% of his maximum health and giving it to an ally marked with the command for 12 or 13 turns when hit. So when Garf puts the command mark on a teammate, so they're getting 20% defense and health buff, as well as Rutley giving them an additional 51 or 73% of his own maximum HP. And it's just, this unit that's with the command mark is actually just unbreakable. They will just live. This really prevents you from getting bursted first turn and things like that. Another unit that actually benefits off the command mark is our boy here. Our boy here, Valar. And basically what he does here is, if a target dies, so basically here's what Executioner does. He has Executioner. So he grants an additional effects if you receive a command mark depending on the state of the target that is struck by the skill. Impact. All other targets that are with the additional mark will lose 20% of attack if they are marked with Executioner dies. So with the Executioner passive, it plays off the command mark, right? So let's say your unit has command mark. Now he uses his Demon Slash, right? His Demon Slash, and according to Executioner, if the target dies, all allies gain 2 mana, and if the target survives, the target gains the Executioner mark. So putting the Executioner mark will require them to hit him. So Executioner is only activated when one of your units have command mark. And now, basically Valar can play his game and just, as a tank, and just utilize the Executioner mark and basically make people lose their attack and and just give your allies mana just cause. So this single target here does 750% damage on the one enemy Executioner mark. If the target dies, all allies gain 2 mana. If the target lit survives, it gains the Executioner mark. So just him hitting his skills gives them the Executioner mark, and then bam, if he kills them, great, because he gives everybody 2 mana. So that's the first Fated marks, command mark, and it's really strong. I think this one is really good. Let's move on to the next one, and the next one we're going to be talking about is DISHEARTEN. And this is the one I'm currently summoning for in String of Fate banners. I'm summoning for Fate Core Rachel and Fate Core Zyakon, because I feel like this setup has potential, and I really want to test it out and show you guys. So we got our boy Raquel here. Show this guy at 100. Want to show his stats. His attack is nice, really good. So here's how his passive works. Let's go look at that one real quick. He has Flow of Mana. Over time, back row allies permanently gain 1 mana. Really good. That's really good. Especially he synergizes with himself, which is really good. And then now we have Dishearten. He afflicts allies not allies. He afflicts enemies with a lower attack than self with the disheartened mark and decreases their dodge by 50 and decreases their defense by 20. Just this is really good for offensive units and offensive teams. And then so now that he disheartens a unit, makes it real easy for our boy here, Baraka, who basically on his, the turn resets if he kills an enemy with the skill. That's really good, but it's even better when he hits a disheartened unit with this. He steals 1 mana from them, so they get -1 mana, and your whole back row gets 2 mana off of this. The same thing is true for his ultimate skill, where he steals 1 mana from the enemy, and he puts your back row at +2. So it's just crazy. So the mana flow is crazy, and then Raquel here is giving you permanently 1+1 mana. It's a lot, guys. And like the mana flow between the two, so that means Baraka can always use his last skill. I mean, Raquel can also use his skill. So basically, he increases his attack and hit allies on his skill. So he's basically increasing his attack, his hit, and his attack speed when he does his burst move here, as well as he gets the reset. It's crazy, so he's always buffing his attack, and this guy's gonna be tough to beat, especially with the right gear. This Dishearten has some potential between Baraka and Raquel. And then we're gonna move on to Zyakon, which is here. Zyakons are actually really, really cool because with his passive Decimate, he can take a look at it real quick. Is it here? Nope, it's just here. So with his passive Decimate is he's guaranteed a critical hit on his skills on disheartened units. And he also grants Raquel with 1 mana due to the fire element passive. So he's also giving 1 mana to Raquel. Raquel's permanently giving him 1 mana. So actually Raquel's getting +2 mana. And then every time Baraka uses one of his skills on an enemy, he's stealing mana, giving everybody more mana. This guy's gonna be in the front row, but this guy's giving because he's a tank, so he's gonna be in the front row, as you can tell from his stats. But it's just the mana, the sharing of mana in Dishearten is really, really strong and really good, and I really want to test it out. And another thing is Visual Aid has, they also have some sneaky good 1 or 2 stars that could actually synergize with these guys. So definitely go check them out if you guys want to. Moving on to the next one, and arguably the strongest one, it's the Tranquil mark, and that's gonna start with our girl Bathory. If you guys understand how the order is going, I'm reviewing the unit first that actually puts the mark on. So Bathory puts the Tranquil mark, and what does Bathory do? So basically, she has Breath of Mana. She gives front row allies permanently 1 mana, which is really, really good, as well as having mana utilization. So she's getting mana for no reason, which is great. We love that. Tranquil grants allies with less attack than self the Tranquil mark, and protects allies from death 1 time. So she will leave allies at 1 HP. So she has a lot of attack. So especially if you build her right, she has even more attack, and she's gonna be so great. She's gonna just have the passive is gonna apply to everybody. And who actually synergizes with this passive? Our girl F Core Rara, or normal Rara, doesn't really matter, but F Fate Core Rara really shines with this passive with Bathory. So basically that her skills have Bite, and what Bite does is that it basically, if you're marked with Tranquil, which she will be, she deals 50% additional damage for each mana the target has. So if the target has 10 mana and you use one of Rara's skills, that's 500% additional damage. Insane, guys. It's freaking insane. Tranquil mark is crazy. And it's not, it gets crazier because with Fate Core Ulum or normal Ulum skill has Walk. And Walk is a passive that only activates when Ulum has Tranquil. And when Ulum has Tranquil, her skills, her single target and her AoE skill can break 3 random Guardian Stones on a unit. 3 random Guardian Stones. That's a lot of Guardian Stones, and that's just 1 attack. So it's actually crazy, guys. Which I just want you guys to understand, Tranquil is really, really strong. And it's strong in PvP, PvE, it doesn't really matter. They just wreck everywhere. Just crazy, crazy stuff from these guys. So like, just to walk through the synergy again, Battery puts Tranquil on all her allies. Rara does crazy damage on enemies with a lot of mana. Rara already does crazy damage already, but once the units start building mana, they're just in one-shot territory, to be honest. And then Ulum here is breaking Guardian Stones, as well as if her units should get low, Battery protects them for death, so they stay at 1 HP. Ulum has Taunt. Here, Ulum has Taunt. Block. Well, basically provokes all the enemies to attack Ulum. And you know your healer can first aid and heal and all that stuff, whatever it needs to do. And then you're basically surviving too, because even if everyone attacks Ulum and Ulum gets to 1 HP and lives, then first aid will activate. Hopefully Ulum will still live. Ulum will be able after all that to basically use her AoE skill here and just break Guardian Stones willy-nilly. It's just such a great combo, great synergy with one another. Let's move on to the next one, and the recently buffed one, the Fear of the Abyss mark. And that comes with our boy Shifrakin. Shifrakin applies the Fear of the Abyss marks. So let's look at Fear of the Abyss. Fear of the Abyss adds Fear of the Abyss mark to enemies with defense lower than you. So if they have lower defense than you, Shifrakin just gonna mark them. If the target dies, if the target has 10% or less health at the start of the turn, deals 65% damage to all enemies in the same row. So this is a damage over time effect that if once someone is marked, they all feel it. They all deal 65% damage, which means that it's damage over time. So it's just craziness. So Shifrakin actually synergizes with himself with his marching sword skill, where he basically deals 150% additional damage for each self-harm stack on an enemy, with normally doing 210 attack, pump it up to 360. It applies freeze on a target for 7 turns, so they can't move. And again, additional damage for each self-harm stack. Self-harm stacks are basically the Fear of the Abyss stacks, so it's just crazy. Our boy Ramji here synergizes very well with him because especially Fate Core Ramji, because he has Dragon Blood and Dragon Scale. He can give Shifrakin Dragon Scale, basically increasing his defense as well as giving him the ability to Wrath. It's just some good stuff. It's great stuff actually. So we have Touch of Darkness here. Basically, he nullifies healing on the skill as well as afflicts self-harm. More self-harm stacks on a unit, the more Shifrakin damage does. The more damage Shifrakin does, the more Fear of the Abyss damage he does. So it's just like so much damage over time with the Fear of the Abyss. As well as he has an AoE version, nullifies heal for 16 turns, applies self-harm, and inflicts Fear of the Abyss. So like they're gonna keep constantly putting on Fear of the Abyss, and you can actually put on 2 marks with Ramji. If you use his first skill, that's 1 set of Fear of the Abyss, and if you use his second skill, his first, yeah, I was correct. His first skill, that's 1 mark, and then his second skill will be like counted as a different mark. If you use the same skill, the counter would just reset. Just for you guys to know. So basically, he's putting the self-harm, he's putting the Fear of the Abyss. The more Fear of the Abyss they have, the more damage they're taking. Shifrakin's doing more damage with the more self-harm. So like more self-harm they have due to Ramji hitting them is it's crazy. Like the damage over time numbers can just be insane. Nextly I want to talk about is Valentina here. No, it's not Valentina. This is Valentina. But she applies Mana Burn because she has the ability Contempt. That's her passive. Applies Mana Burns with those targeted with Fear of the Abyss. 10 mana. I think Mana Burn, again, I don't really know for sure, but I just want you guys to like back me up or this or like help me out because I'm not too sure. But basically, I'm pretty sure Mana Burn means they lose 10 mana, or she does damage to units. You know what I mean? Like, she either does damage to units with Fear of the Abyss, extra damage, or Mana Burn, they just lose 10 mana. Let me know in the comments what that actually means. So so basically, let's go over the synergy with these. So Shaprakan implies Fear the Abyss passively, while our boy Ramji here applies self-harm and Fear the Abyss, as well as nullifying healing in the process. Just he's adding self-harm and Fear the Abyss, adding more stacks. Shaprakan does 150% additional damage for each self-harm stack a target has. So Ramji stacking up the self-harm. Shaprakan will do crazy damage with all this self-harm, as well as our girl Valentina, who silences units, as well as inflict mana burn, which, you know, just is not a good time. It's literally not going to be a good time for your opponent. This is really good for PvE, but PvP, it's going to be kind of tough because the Dragon Scale is still so prominent, and Dragon Blood is in general is so prominent, and each time damage over time activates, that means Wrath will activate, which means Shaprakan and or Ramji would just be like utterly destroyed by Wrath counters like every other turn, or like every turn, because they're literally taking away, they're doing damage every turn with these damage over time effects, and it just wouldn't be in their best interest to do that on Dragon Blood units. I mean, there are ways around it, but I don't think it's very viable yet in PvP. One more update, one more buff maybe, right? Moving on to the last set of fated unit marks, we're going to go on to the charm mark, and it starts with this girl, Janai. Janai here is the leader of this mark. She basically applies it. So she has flow of mana. Back row allies automatically permanently get 1 mana. That's what's up. As well as she inflicts charm. Enemies with lower attack than self with charm are marked and decrease with their attack speed by 30. So she decreases attack speed. So basically, she makes units slower just for having the charm mark on them. And she has decent attack too. You can build up more attack with her. So she can do some crazy damage. And I think let's take a look at her skills. She has poison effects, as well as, yep, she does damage and she deals poison. She's all AoE as well. Did I even know that? And she can go really well with our man Jin here. Jin here thrives off the charm mark. He's basically a charm version of Baraka, but instead of just hardening, taking 2 mana, he actually silences, as well as applies mana burn on charm units. So I think it takes away 1 mana every time he attacks with Shadow Slash and Shadow Dance. Applying silence makes our boy Jin here slightly better. I think Baraka is overall better, but like the silence is a nice icing on the cake. But Baraka just gives mana to everybody, which again in the long run is just better. But I think silence is overall, like in a one-on-one situation, more PvP oriented thing. I think silence is stronger. Personal opinion. And then another good unit that synergizes with these two is our girl that I own here. Didn't really have much use for her, but now that I know that she can actually do some stuff, we have our girl Shell here. And with her second skill is it's AoE, and it deals hallucinate on charmed enemies. Basically, they lose -30 hit for 4 turns, which means their basic attack to 30, automatically -30 damage. That's really good. So you're lowering attack speed, you're slowing them down, you're silencing them. So when they're silenced, they can't use skills, so they're forced to use their basic attacks. And then Shell here is gonna hit them for -30 on her basic attacks, as well as she can increase attack on one ally and remove buffs. She cleanses buff, as well as she boosted ally by 22% for 6 turns. So that can be given to Jin, so one-shot things, or most importantly Janai. You give it to Janai, she gets more attack. That means more units get the charm mark, which means they're slower, which means units like her can move faster and move more, and fast units like Jin can just lap other units. So it's just this team has really good synergy. I think it's very it'd be really interesting PvP wise. It has very good potential, and it's definitely worth trying out if you guys have these units. All right, guys. Final verdict on these fated units, and their respective marks. Command mark, starting from command mark is just overall solid. It's good everywhere. It's no way it would be bad. It's very, very solid. Literally, the survivability of it all is just crazy. Next, we're gonna move on to Dishearten. Dishearten has so much kill potential. It's very hyper offensive, very cool. I want to check it out, and once I get these units, I'll do a video on them. I think the first one I'm gonna do a video on, because I actually have this one, and it's actually the strongest one in my opinion. Is the TRANQUIL mark. Bathory just has so much attack, so everybody's gonna get hit with the TRANQUIL mark. I have Fake Rara. Fake Rara does insane damage already. As well as add that with the bite. She's OP. And then we have Illum. I have Illum. I don't have Fake Illum. Fake Illum would be a little better, but you know, you take what you use what you can. Randomly breaks 3 Guardian Stones. Fear the Abyss just got buffed. It's a lot more viable now. With Fake Ramji with the Dragon Blood, as well as Shafrakin or Fake Shafrakin, you're crazy. Like, it's just crazy damage over time with Fake. And but Valentina here is just basically the icing on the cake with the silencing as well as the mana burning. And then we have Charm Mark, sneaky good. It really is sneaky good. A good mark to have, where lowering attack speed, forcing silence your opponents, so you're forced to use your basic attacks, and then lowering their basic attack damage. It's just overall just really solid and has potential in PvP. Alright guys, that is it for this video. If you guys have any questions, holler at me in the comments, in the comments, and we'll talk about it. Hopefully you guys liked this video. If this guide was informational or informative, please go back to the Exos Heroes subreddit. Link is in the description, and support the guy or girl who created this this guide, this visual aid. Again, give them all the upvotes. That link will also be in the description. And yeah, it's your boy SleezyCheeto signing out. Peace. Catch you all on the next one.